Chapter. We're talking real money.
Let's go back to the basics. Let's take investing back to where it all begins. Let's reduce it all to its lowest common denominator. Let's talk about the things that you need to do to enjoy a successful, a financially secure future, particularly when you're young. What are the lessons that young people should learn about investing so that they don't mess up when they enter into adulthood or young adulthood or late teenhood and start earning money and putting it away for the future, or hopefully doing that? What are the lessons? Today, ladies and gentlemen, on Talking Real Money, the definitive list of things that every late teenager should know about money and investing. And because I'm such a gentleman, I'm going to let Tom give the first 5. And I do not know what he's going to say.
That's true. He doesn't.
I have no idea what he's going to say, which leaves me with doing 5 that are different than his 5.
Major
requiring
challenge.
me to be a little faster on the uptake here.
That's
Hopefully.
not a problem.
I
for
don't
you.
think
Never
that's going to
has been.
happen today because
I
I'm
know
an
you.
old guy
Yeah.
taking Social Security already.
I don't think it's going to be a problem. And by the way, one of the reasons we're doing this is I personally have taken on the challenge of helping people with financial literacy. I think we mentioned on a podcast or a show that it's about half of the country can answer 3 basic questions about financial literacy. I find that shocking.
Answer me
appalling.
these questions 3.
Exactly. The flight speed of the swallow always kills them.
Yeah.
Would that be the African or
is
North
your favorite
American
color?
variety? Exactly. That's always a problem. So I've done some things. The company's done some things. Don't need to publicize them all the time.
I haven't done anything.
A dang thing. You're not leaving the room. So we're going to try to talk about a few of the basics that we see and how to help young people, because it really is about young people, right?
Well,
it
that's
really
the
is when it
best
comes
time
to
to
this.
start.
I know. All right. So number 1, this is my list. Nobody
right.
else's list.
Hold on,
my
I
list.
gotta write this down.
So you don't repeat it. That would be good.
All right, Tom's
Number
list. Go
1
ahead.
on my list: things to teach a young person about money.
Yeah.
Money values. Now, how the heck do you teach them money values? How do you? Okay, well,
we could just do a whole show on that. Just go ahead. I'm going to take a nap.
We just talked off air about this recently, about some of the money values you learned as a young person when you were going to school.
I learned money values.
Well, you were talking about the fact that when you were at a school and there were some very wealthy kids who had basically
It was a
everything.
private school.
I know.
Yeah.
And then you had to work your way through it.
Because
right?
I was on a scholarship, so I had to work in the kitchen.
Yeah. So you learned the value of your labor and what that could create. This is something
I knew that at 13. I was working in a restaurant.
I don't think a lot of people think that through, because at the end of the day,
because my grandparents wouldn't give us any money.
Well, okay, let's not go there. So at the end of and I do give my grandkids money, but I don't hand it to them. It goes into their college savings account. Learning that your labor is what is going to allow you to have, own, buy, service, all those things. That is a lesson learned, I think, very early. All my kids have had jobs early on. I've tried to lead by example, not always well, because the last 10 years I probably lived, and didn't you just say something in a recent podcast about going on one of those Tom vacations, or you spend so much time?
Yeah, the Tom vacations. Well, come on. The dude vacationed in he had a butler in Africa.
Well, close. Anyway, my daughter wasn't there, so she didn't get to see that. But
we don't want to tell her.
No, please. Well, she was still mad that she didn't get to go. But the values, again, that it's about your labor, what that produces, about the spending part of it, right? You need to know how to figure all this out in the world. And I really, truly believe this. You could give them a book, you could make them watch a video, you could go on TikTok, but they really learn it by watching you. That's the truth. They see what you do and they're going to say, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing.
I want to go on a vacation to Africa that costs a small fortune. How do I do that?
Wait, I don't think it was a small fortune, actually.
Actually, the one that costs a large fortune.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But the values, it's a day by day thing. They got to see that you live it. And I don't know any other way to teach people that, but that's number one for me. That's the number one thing that I see people not doing. Number two,
I won't do that one then.
Okay.
All right. Good.
I find this fascinating that, again, I mentioned that I talked to a group recently. They're all in the real estate business, nice people, successful agents, and most of them hadn't saved anything outside of real estate. Do you want to know the number one reason why? They don't know how.
Real estate. Yeah.
No, they're like, well, what do we do? What do we start? What happens? I think you have to teach people how and where to save. The how, again, with like my kid now who has a job, I take 15% of her stuff and put it aside. Boom, it's gone into a separate account. So that's the how, but then they need to know the where. Right? She has, for example, my daughter has two places. She has a savings account for things that she's saving to buy. And number two, she has a Roth IRA. You're going to say that's silly. She's 17. And I'm going to say, I'm going to be gone in 40 years. And she's going to say, thank you, Dad. That was a great idea.
I keep smacking into my microphone. I'm not sure why I keep doing that.
Because
I'm taking notes clear over to the right.
Long you're not hitting me.
Yeah.
But the how and the where. You have to make it clear, and you have to make it clear.
See, here's what he's doing. Here's what he's doing. He's taking all the possible advice you can give, and he's like, okay, one thing is 6 things. This other thing is 4 things.
Well, I'm only through 2 so far.
I know, and because they're so broad that they suck all the air out of the room, all the oxygen.
Okay. All right.
Fair enough. Nothing for Don. Okay. So
money values, how, where to save. Number 3, and I think this is so important. Then again, it still shocks me that half of us don't know this, is how compound interest works.
Damn it. All right. I'm
sorry.
That one. Took that one off my list. I'm not going to be left with 5. Okay.
It's all right. Whatever. The power of time, the consistency, and the time is the aspect here, because if you're young, set money aside, it grows on itself. Showing them, and maybe even playing a game where here's how it works, right? Using the snowball analogy, any of those things that helps them understand that not just saving that money, but having it grow compound interest over time.
Hey, since we're getting rid of pennies anyway, take the big jar of pennies.
Who has cash anymore? I have none.
I have a big jar of pennies.
Okay. Well, throw them out the window.
Take those and go, okay, today you got a penny. And then it doubles, and then it doubles, and then it doubles. Show the power in a pile, doubling it.
That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an idea.
It adds up.
Go ahead.
Money values, how, where to save, and compound interest. Okay, here's one that you'll like. Why different things have made more over time. Why pennies in an interest-bearing account have created this big a pile of pennies. Why pennies in an IOU, a bond, have returned this much, and why pennies in investment in equities have returned this much. Trying to give some basic explanation as to why those things have made more. JC pennies. JC Penney. Yeah. Oh, but you realize somebody just reading about Sears, your old place. There's still like 7 Sears around. I thought they were completely done. I thought they're basically done. And you can no longer buy the house delivered from Sears either.
Folks, Sears, for those of you youngsters in the audience, both of you, Sears was once the biggest retail establishment in the country. There were more Sears than Walmarts.
And when people tell me Amazon's going to be great forever, I say, see Sears.
See Sears,
yeah, because things do change. So, but helping them understand not just the compounding interest, but why different things have paid different amounts for a long period of time. That risk-return ratio, okay? I think that's a big one. And here's the other one, and you got to have a job for this one, so it may be a little tougher, but taxation. With my daughter, I've pulled her check out a few times and said, this is FICA, this is withholding, there's a difference. Here's why you need to know these things. And by the way, they withheld something from her check this year, which I think if you're a young person, you have to make more than like 7,000 or 8,000 to have to file a tax return. I forget the number.
I don't know. That's tax law.
I don't know either. But anyway, but understanding taxation.
She'll get it back.
Yeah, right. But here's the thing about taxation that people don't pay attention to. They don't pay attention to the fact that that's your partner forever, the federal government. They oftentimes forget when they've saved something for retirement that it's actually worth 20% less than you think it is, because you're going to pay tax on any pre-tax amount.
Yeah.
Or a non-qualified account, you're going to pay somewhere between 15 and 20. But understanding those things. So for me, money values, how, where to save, compound interest, why different investments have paid out different interest amounts, and understanding taxes. So sure,
okay,
you're five.
You left me with 3.
Okay, well, it's better than none, I guess.
Yeah, you left me with 3. My first is understanding that in every aspect of life, really, but particularly when it comes to money, that I don't care how smart you think you are, and I know that most teenagers think they're smarter than everybody. No matter how smart, how intelligent you are, the one thing neither you nor your parents, nor your grandparents, nor your friends will ever know is what's going to happen in the future with any degree of certainty.
But is that a good thing to tell a child?
Yes, the future is unknown.
Sounds scary.
I know, and that's
really end up poorly.
No, exactly. You don't know, which is why you come to this one, which is my next one.
Oh, okay. The future could be horrible.
We don't know. We don't know what it is, which is why you never want to put all of your investment financial eggs in a single basket. Your investments
actually, that's good.
Must be diversified, not just in different industries, but in different markets, in different
types.
Think
that through for a minute in your situation, because you only own real estate in Florida. You could add real estate on the other coast, diversifying your real estate holdings.
I hate condos.
But it's an investment.
Think
it's not a condo.
Oh, no. And that's one of the other ones. I just added this one.
Okay. I hate condos are a lousy investment.
No matter how cheap they might seem at the time, have proven to be one of the worst investments in the real estate industry. They actually have.
Yeah, they're not good.
In every big real estate decline we've had in the past,
they get hit first and
they get hit first. They get hit first and hardest every single time so far. Now, I don't know the future, so it might not happen again.
Good point.
But here's another one. While past does not predict the future, past often gives you an idea of what could happen. So you can't know exactly what the future is going to bring, but you can't. So know your history, because past isn't prologue, but past is indicative of what might happen down the road.
That's your third one?
History tends to repeat. That's third. The fourth one is don't underestimate the power of luck.
We've mentioned that. Yeah, many times.
Much of which you will hear from people who say, "Oh, well, this investment did really, really, really well. You should get into it." They'll actually say it like this: "Oh, this investment is doing really, really well right now, so you should get into it."
Doing,
yeah. But it only did. Oh, that's another one. Okay, I'll add it.
There you go. See,
past,
always past tense.
Always past tense. But most of the brilliance you see when it comes to investing is, according to a ton of scientific research, is more likely attributable to luck than to skill.
Well, think back to our situation. How much of the fact that we've been investors, we've been in business for the last 40 whatever years, in a time really basically when stocks have kind of gone up and we've been invested in stocks.
Yeah, it's
the
like
timing is good.
You if you're young, you're not going to know who this is, but Bill Gross was called the bond king for his brilliant bets on the bond market, which were brilliant because the market cooperated at the time with his ideas. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time, I believe. He's going to tell you it was all brilliant. But the fact of the matter is when his beliefs remained the same, but the markets changed.
And he was screwed.
He did poorly. So it's most likely luck. don't attribute any amazing things, magical things to skill. Attribute them to luck. And finally,
yeah. Oh, wait, there's 5? A minute ago, it's 3.
I know, because I added a couple that were ancillary.
Okay.
Never underestimate the power of time. And this applies to every aspect of your life. Every aspect. I mean, my daughter recently had a disagreement with her boyfriend. And basically, my advice to her, she goes, "What do I do?" I said, time. Time heals most wounds. Time heals. Like right now, the situation we're in with tariffs and the stock market and the insanity that looks like it's some people are
never
believing
end.
is going
First
to
time it's ever
destroy the
happened.
country. Yeah. Time.
Well, that's because
Be
everybody
patient.
sees everything through a political prism right now, and that's a problem. Every problem is viewed politically, which is shouldn't do that either.
Yeah. Speaking of which, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, and I know that many of you on the crazy side of the fence hate this publication, but it does publish a lot of great articles from all over the political spectrum. David Brooks is a brilliant writer and columnist. I love the guy. He's a conservative.
The Atlantic, right?
He's a true Reagan conservative. He writes, I believe, he's one of the conservative writers at the Times, but he's on the conservative side of the fence. Like they've got a couple other writers. He wrote an incredible essay recently that's coming out in the May edition of the magazine, The Atlantic. About the current situation with tariffs and the market, and it is and the fear that exists right now. Absolutely incredible reading. It's a very long article. It is absolutely brilliant. If you are a traditional Reagan conservative, you're going to love it. If you're a not horribly liberal Democrat, you're going to like it. A few people are going to hate it.
Degree. Okay.
But it was such a good piece that made me want to take it to understand that the time has in the past taken care of so many problems that we thought were insurmountable. That's my
playing the role of Phil today is Don McDonald. So thank you, Dr. Phil. I feel so much better.
You're welcome.
And by the way, I'm not supposed to say my time is short because we talk about how old we are on the podcast. One of our older regular podcast listeners wrote me and said, "Quit saying how old you are. You're not that old. I'm that old." So, okay. So we won't.
Yeah, but when I hear people in their 40s or 50s going, "Oh, this middle-aged thing," I go, shut up. You're not old.
Not everything hurts the way
all
it
of
does
us
for
do that.
Yeah,
and that's why I took Social Security a year early, because I thought about that. And I went, you know how much my ache and pain factor has increased over the past few years?
Hate it.
If it continues at this pace,
yeah, well, that's bad.
I am going to regret not enjoying that extra money Social Security brings. I will, and that's really what I talk. Here's another lesson: don't just save and invest for its own sake. Save and invest for what money can do for you or someone else. Too.
Right? How and where? Why are you doing that? Okay, let's get some questions. Those are our 5 things. Don's 6
10.
or 7 things, whatever
10,
it is. So
12,
that's true. We
11.
bonused you 5. Yeah. Okay. This comes from Charles, who is in Seattle, Washington. He says, "I'm 36, have a pension, 60% payout after 20 years, deferred comp that's in the Vanguard target 2055, Roth of 114,000, 60,000 in cash, no debt. I'd like to change the 2055 target fund and split it between DFAW and AVGE. Thought I'd like to set it and forget it with 20 years for the maximum draw." Number one, remember, DFAW and AVGE are all stock. So you'd be moving from a target date fund. 2055 is probably 95% stocks, I'm guessing, but it's going to be mostly. That's one. Number 2 is DFAW and AVGE are going to have a very different stock makeup than a target date fund. A target date fund is going to be more U.S., more large, and more growth. DFAW and AVGE, operated by Dimensional and Avantis, are purposely going to own more small. Now, if you've noticed this spring, small in value you think it's bad in the S&P 500, small in value have gotten whipped big time, as you would expect. Uncertainty is harder on smaller companies, and especially ones that are considered value. So it's been harder on them. So those are a couple things I would think about before I raced into making that change.
Well, no, I when you have 2 decades, you're in a period when you can afford, you got time on your side. You're in a period when you can afford to be more aggressive. And investing in a DFAW or an AVGE is a more aggressive posture.
Correct.
Than being
Did you look up the 2055? Does that have any bonds?
Yeah, the 2055 is made up of 4 funds. It's the total stock market.
Yep.
It's the total international stock market. It's the total bond market, and it's the total international bond market.
And how much in the bond portion?
10%.
Okay, I was pretty doggone close. So 90-10. So it's going to be a little different than just being all in stocks. A little. Not a lot, but a little.
Very
Wouldn't
little.
have saved you much this spring. A little bit, but not a lot.
Very little. But the thing is that with that small value tilt, because those are riskier assets. You see, This isn't magic. Those are riskier assets. Riskier assets have an expectation of higher returns. And so far, over very long, decades-long periods of time, that has been borne out in the past returns. So having DFAW and AVGE over 20 or 30 years, because remember, eventually they're going to become a smaller part of your portfolio over time, but they're still going to be there. And their effect is likely to be a fractionally higher return. Is it likely to be a dramatic difference? No. A difference.
I think that's fair. If we don't know, didn't you say that earlier? We don't know what things going to look like in 20 years, but past,
nobody knows
how
nothing.
We do. That's right. Jim from Boise, Idaho says, I've been listening to you guys for over a year now and love your boring shtick with plan advice. 58 currently have 85% in stocks, 15% in bonds, and we'll have a $30,000 a year pension when I retire in 46 years. That all sounds great. I've recently realized I've been underweighted international, only 10% last year, and want to get it to 25% of my equity portfolio. I made some shifts over the last year of international now up to 20%. With U.S. stocks being down and international being up, and that's no longer true, by the way, everything now is down. How can I get to this allocation without selling losers and buying winners? I've been pushing my retirement contributions more heavily toward international, but for a $700,000 portfolio, it won't move the needle much between now and then when I want to retire in 46 years. How far back in performance would you deem a sector a loser or winner before making a decision to allocate properly? That's a different question there.
Oh yeah, that's a totally different question. And let me make this as boring.
Okay, but this is
wait. I gotta get my boring voice on.
Oh, please go ahead.
I want to get my boring voice on for you because it's boring planning conversation. No, the reality is you don't look at. We keep saying sell your winners and buy your losers, but that's only because that's generally what happens when you rebalance. In a time when you're trying to get to the correct balance, go ahead and use whatever.
He has $700,000 in his retirement account. You can do it tomorrow.
Exactly, and it's in your retirement account, so it doesn't make.
Not gonna matter.
So sell your winners or sell your losers. Sell your losers and buy your winners.
Right percentages.
Just get it right. Get it to the right percentages sooner than later because it doesn't cost you anything in taxes.
Yeah. That would be a fix. In terms of how far back do we look in performance?
We don't.
As long as we can. Well, we look in some cases 100
not
years.
for rebalancing.
No. But he says for performance, 100 years in some cases. That's why
we'd rather have more data than less data.
Yeah, people say it's different this time. Baloney. By the way, I'm watching a show on one of the rare shows I ever watch on Prime Video about the Titans of Wall Street. And on one of them, I think it's JP Morgan says, it is so different this time. And I'm thinking, God, they said that 100 years ago. It's like, it's different every time. So no, we look back as far as we can, and we wouldn't look at recent performance to say this is going to be better and different in the future. So, but for your case, Jim, yeah, I just rebalance my, my retirement account to the percentages that you want. And we've mentioned this before and I think you're still 50-50 U.S. international, correct?
Who, me?
Yeah. Isn't that what you told me recently? I mean, I'm about 63% U.S. and 47% international. So
I think I'm not 50-50, but I'm probably 55-45.
Okay.
I'm close.
Yeah. And I'm 80% in stocks, 20% in bonds, because I don't plan on using the money for a long time. Yeah. So anyway, but those are things to think about. And yeah, long-term performance better. Fix your asset allocation right away.
There you go.
That's it.
Yep. We've done another podcast. Look at us. Well,
I'm so
congratulations on the, 2000th podcast we've probably done together.
If you add in sound investing,
we didn't keep track, so we don't know.
No,
but it's got to be over.
I know
2000.
somebody who did. I probably know him. I probably could ask him. Well, when he was the producer, Eric.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Oh, man, you might know how many of those. Problem is, I don't even know that I know how many of these because some got lost.
Yeah. They're out there in the ether, right? They're somewhere.
Changed services, and some of them got knocked off because they had a limit to how many they would transfer. And so we lost some of the early ones.
Will it be like that at the end of your life, like White Lotus, when you're looking up and seeing the four monks? We'll be listening to our podcast as we cycle off into the next thing or whatever. So
actually, my plan is to fund for my other podcasts anyway, for my short stories.
Yeah,
I don't know about these. Is I'm going to have my estate
perpetual
fund those to keep them up. My lit reading podcast
awesome.
Perpetually.
Good for
so
you.
I figured I'd be there for future generations. They can listen to me read stories.
I think they should.
Yeah.
These are timeless tales.
Not that many people listen to lit reading. It's not popular like Talking Real Money.
We've done it with my grandsons.
Bet not anymore. Bet you haven't done it in months, years.
No, you're right. It has been a while, but
yeah. You guys listen to Rita Storis. That was the one.
That was the one, yeah.
Yeah, lit reading.
Now, as you know, I got a new one coming here, so we'll try her on it, see how it goes. So,
okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add?
I do want to mention that in these unsettled times. And by the way, we think all things are always unsettled, but this is okay. In these more unsettled times of uncertainty, more than ever, Don. You got to have a plan. You got to have the right asset allocation, and you got to get rid of the hodgepodge. And how do you do that? Well, glad you asked. For free, absolutely no cost obligation or sales pitch. We will review your portfolio to tell you how much risk you're taking, how diversified you are, how much you're paying others. Costs nothing. And
and you don't even get a
every
pitch.
day.
You don't even get a high pressure sales pitch.
So anyway, if you want to do
we're really
that,
falling down on the job. We got to be bigger pains in the neck. Yeah.
We should bring in Ken Fisher and his gang.
Oh man, they'll put the full court press on you.
Call you every day, 3 times a day.
Why am I speaking in basketball analogies? I don't know.
Exactly. Well, the March Madness did just conclude. So anyway, if you want some help, it's pretty easy. You go to talkingrealmoney.com, click on Meet an Advisor. And yes, I still take meetings, so I'd love to meet you.
I hear Florida came back.
Florida did come back, and they actually came all the way back and won it all. So good for them.
Yeah, I
don't
watch
Gators.
Basketball. I try so hard. I do. I have MLS season pass.
How many soccer games have you actually watched?
I try so hard to watch soccer because my friend and co-host watches soccer all the time.
Break down the latest penalty call.
I tried again this weekend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did. I flipped on the thing and I went, okay, I live in Orlando, so let me and
you've been to their stadium. I went there with you.
I've been there and I went, let me watch an Orlando game. And after about 4 minutes, I went,
nope.
I still don't know what they're doing. I'm watching them and they're like kicking a ball.
They're passing it around
and I'm going
side to side. What
is there any order to this? It seems, I watch baseball. I get it.
Pitch, hit,
guy,
catch,
ball, hit, make it fly, catch it, run. Football, I get. Bunch of guys line up, try to destroy each other. Got it. Soccer, it's like a free-for-all. It's this gigantic field, and there are guys everywhere on it running around in apparently nonsensical patterns. And I go, can't they all it just makes no sense. And then they never score. And then they never
Imagine you're the guy in the middle trying to keep it all straight. How easy is that?
I don't know how you can see them all. They're everywhere.
I know.
You need 360-degree referee vision.
I worked with a guy the other night who had one of those cameras on his chest to take video.
Oh, so he could say, "Oh, I got it right here on the video."
Yeah, and there was a mass confrontation. So I always wondered if he went back and looked at it. So anyway, so we'll see.
Let's check.
Look at the tape. Yeah, look at the tape. Anyway, thank you for trying soccer. I appreciate it. Because otherwise you're just every day, all day long, you're just sitting around talking real money.
Oh, look at you ending the show.
The opinions and views expressed in this podcast were current on the date recorded. Opinions, estimates, forecasts, and statements of financial market trends that are based on current market conditions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without notice, including any forward-looking estimates or statements which are based on certain expectations and assumptions.
Although information and opinions given have been obtained from or based on sources believed to be reliable, no warranty or representation is made as to their correctness, completeness, or accuracy.
Information presented on the podcast is not personalized investment advice from Appellate Wealth. The views and strategies described may not be suitable for everyone. This podcast does not identify all the risks, direct or indirect, or other considerations which might be material to you when entering any financial transaction. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and profitable results cannot be guaranteed. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. The podcast is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appellate Wealth, a fee-only registered investment advisor.
Please see Appellate Wealth's ADV Part 2A on our website for information regarding Appellate's fees and services.
Appellate Capital, LLC, DBA Appellate Wealth, is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in the states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Appellate does not provide tax or legal advice, and nothing either stated or implied here should be inferred as providing such advice. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and important disclosure related to performance of any specific index or fund quoted in this podcast. I think I need a nap.